And a good evening to you from Brunswick Community College. Today, the Dolphins coming in at 9-1 and 6-0 here at home, hosting Shooting for Greatness Prep. Hi, everybody. Chris Sheeman, glad to be with you once again. It's day one of the Brunswick Holiday Classic. Game one ran a little bit long. That's why we are delayed once again. But thanks for hanging around, and who knows, maybe I gave you a little time to get home. Let's set the starting lineups, then we'll talk about both of these teams. First, for Shooting for Greatness Prep, a prep school from Raleigh, North Carolina. Head coach Kyle Solomon starting number 0, Tyree Lomax, number 5, Kabir Shabazz, number 11, Kenny Coleman Graham, number 12, Alex Peterson, and number 24, Rakee Person. Now the starters for Brunswick CC, the Dolphins at 9-1, 6-0 here at home. Walter Shaw in his 18th season starting. Number 2, Omari Wilson. Number 5, A.J. Baldwin. Number 10, Devin Hutchinson. Number 12, Jael Scott. And number 32, Najee Thomas. So that's the starters for both of these teams. Your Dolphins are coming off a 112-85 win against Johnston Community College. That game was on Saturday. Brunswick shooting 60% in that game, had 26 assists on 40 made shots. Baldwin had 12 points, 7 assists. 7 players had 10 or more points for Brunswick and head coach Walter Shaw. So the Dolphins are perfect here at home. A pretty good challenge by prep school standards today from Shooting for Greatness. They've got a pretty good team from what we understand. We will kind of get to know them as you get to know them. Shooting for Greatness is in the white and Brunswick is in the dark blue. As we're underway, Shooting for Greatness will control moving from left to right here in this opening half. Coleman Graham, top of the key to Shabazz. This prep school from Raleigh, North Carolina, as I mentioned in the warm-up. And it's a post-grad preparatory school. That means all of these guys are out of high school. 5 on the shot clock. Good defense, forcing Lomax to hoist, and he buries it. So some good shooting there for Lomax, who's from Louisiana. Most of the players from Shooting for Greatness are from out of state. In fact, just Benjamin Branch, who comes off the bench, is from the Raleigh area, and the lone player with Loveless from the state of North Carolina on the roster. Prep schools, by and large, are a new phenomenon, but they've been around in the South for a while. We told you last time about as Hutchinson hits it from the elbow, so it's 3-2. Fork Union up in Virginia is probably the longest preparatory academy, mainly known for sending several NFL players out, one of the Brunswick players playing for them. Person tried to follow his shot, couldn't get it, and now he's called for the reach on Scott, who is in transition for the Dolphins. So the Dolphins have been rolling of late. Have to watch the turnovers today, though, and into this weekend. This is the busiest stretch for Brunswick. For all of the colleges in this tournament, I believe all of them, at least the ones that I've studied up on, this is the end of the semester for them, so they'll play these 3 games, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then that's it. Good dish. Hutchinson is fouled. Coming underneath was Coleman Graham. So 3 free throws for Devin Hutchinson, who we'll see suiting up for Radford next year. Hutchinson, 67% free throw shooter, 15.6 points per ball game, a 58% shooter from the field. Over 4 rebounds as he's short on the first of 3 here. Chris Shima, glad to be with you. Folks, don't forget we got the YouTube chat going. If you want to give us a shout, let us know where you're watching from. Love to chat with you during today's game. We are tied at 3. And now Brunswick with its first lead of the night. So just about 90 seconds in. Trapping pressure shown by BCC here. No trouble for Shooting for Greatness. Coleman Graham skies it. Lomax catch and shoot 3. Nothing but net. Hutchinson going quickly. The reverse is short. Rebound to Peterson. Ball deflected, but Coleman Graham is there into the forecourt for S for G. Lomax. Here's Peterson, the bounce pass out. Good defense has been one of the big reasons why Brunswick has had this great start to the season, winning 9 of its first 10. Lomax, that shot was blocked, and a nice save by Baldwin, but coming up with it was Shabazz, who slams it home, and it's 8-4, shooting for greatness. Baldwin with the rocket underneath Thomas, the reverse. That shot was altered by Shabazz. Here comes S for G now. Coleman Graham looking to penetrate, had it poked away, fell down, kept the dribble, threw it out of bounds. So good defense that time. Hounding defense for the Dolphins has been one of the reasons why they are out to a fast start this year. They're 5th in Division I with 13.8 steals per game. Into the forecourt, Baldwin skies it right side to Scott. Scott fakes the 3, hangs in the air, can't get the bucket, tip out, and the long rebound to Coleman Graham, who is fouled by Scott. That's the first on Brunswick, 2 already on shooting for greatness with 17-11 left to go in the game, or in the first half, I should say. Inbound by Person. Lomax has had the hot hand early, steps into a 3 off the back of the rim. Shabazz, the offensive rebound. Good extra pass, banking it off the glass. Peterson, and a good start for the prep school. Normal prep schools are a pretty easy victory for JUCO schools, but not today. It's Lomax with the steal and bucket. He, I believe, has 8 of the 12 for shooting for greatness, and Walter Shaw wants to talk about it. So while he calls a timeout, we want to give a shout out to our friends at Atlantic Foot Specialist. Dr. Satterwhite, thanking them for sponsoring today's broadcast of Brunswick Dolphins basketball. You could call them 910-755-FEET. Atlantic Foot Specialist. Big shout out to them, and thanks to them for sponsoring today's broadcast. So we'll have today's broadcast for you and Friday's game as well. Tomorrow, Brunswick taking on Chattanooga State. And if you're interested and want to do some scouting on that, I'll be calling the Cape Fear game against Chattanooga State after this one, and that will be on Cape Fear's YouTube. Chris Shima, glad to be back with you. Going quickly are the Dolphins. Wilson out of control. Too strong off the glass. Coleman Graham. Lomax top of the key, right side. It's Shabazz. Lost the handle on it. Steal by Hutchinson. Goes behind his back, brings it into the forecourt. Scoops it over to Baldwin. Takes a dribble to 3, no good. But the put back underneath by Wilson. A much needed bucket for Brunswick there. Omari Wilson shooting 57%. Now it's a steal by Scott. Scott will wait. Makes the smart decision. Shooting for greatness, doing a good job getting back. Open look again, Baldwin, no. And that's going to be off Lomax, out of bounds. But wait a minute. Yeah, they will say last touch by the Dolphins after conferring. Scott to inbound it. Here's Thomas. Baldwin. Good ball movement. Scott the 3. Can't get it to go. Offensive rebound. Thomas had it blocked and taken away by Peterson. Corner 3 no good by Person, who missed it long. Wilson the rebound. Baldwin forced that pass. 3 defenders around Thomas, and Baldwin tried to make something out of nothing there. Another turnover. That's been the Dolphins' problems. You know, they've had a good start in part because of some of the competition that they've played. When they get into 2018 and they're playing that Region 10 schedule, they've got to limit the turnovers. Right now, Brunswick is 197th out of 203 Division I JUCO teams in turnovers per game at 19.8. So don't try to force what's not there. Couple of subs, we'll tell you about that here. Lomax to the elbow. There's Shabazz for three. Missed it long, tipped for the rebound, and one of those subs, Mike Melvin, coming into the game with the rebound, and Devin Hutchinson out of control. Threw it up, I think, maybe in desperation to try to get a call, but it is a turnover. So Mike Melvin is coming, has checked into the game, and now it's Khalil Daly, number 11, from Winston-Salem for Brunswick. Into the game for shooting for greatness, number 2, that's Tyreek Wilder. Coleman Graham. Wilder with the fake and traveled with the basketball. So the ball goes back to Brunswick. Another sub for Coach Shaw, Josh Woodard, number 21, coming into the game. Mike Melvin, 2.5 assists per game off the bench, running the point right now for the Dolphins. Here's Daly, top of the key. Daly gets a screen, defender stays with him. Now Hutchinson. Just about 6 minutes in, Brunswick down by 6, 10 on the shot clock now. Melvin swings it out, Daly, 5 to shoot. Hutchinson from way downtown off the side, and the rebound controlled by Wilder, who brings it up the court for S4G. Lomax on the near side of your screen. Couple of threes and a bucket for him. Neither team has scored, though, in the last couple of minutes out of that timeout. Coleman Graham. Shabazz to Wilder, and Wilder is fouled on the floor. So both teams now with 2 team fouls with 13:38 left to go here in this first half. Wilder from Philadelphia with the inbound. Top of the key, Coleman Graham. Graham gets it back, fires the triple off the back of the rim. Good box out by Wilson. Woodard also there to make sure. And another throwaway. Melvin this time with the turnover. Coleman Graham. Here's Wilder. Wilder floats it up, tried to bank it. No, follows his shot, and he'll get a couple of free throws. Third team foul for Brunswick with 13:13 left to go here in the first half. Xavier McCoy gets set to check in for Brunswick. You might be wondering, what is a prep school, prep academy, a post-grad prep school? Typically, it's set up. It's not actually a school. Now, I don't know shooting for greatness, but I've worked with a couple prep schools in the past, so I'm just going on what I could tell you. You know, whether the gentlemen have had life troubles, have had financial troubles, have had grade troubles, personal troubles, whatever reason that they can't play NCAA basketball or even JUCO basketball, as Wilson has his second field goal, and its correct score is 13-8. They will go to one of these academies. Typically it's a one and done, so it's not like JUCO where there's 2 years, although some players do play more than 1 year. And it's last chance U, and it's the real last chance U. It's not like the one that you saw on ESPN. These guys are playing for their lives, respectively, or figuratively, of course, speaking, to try to continue their basketball careers. In most cases, players will take classes at a community college, so they'll enroll at a 2-year school or even a 4-year school and play for the prep academy. And it's kind of the coach who handles all of that to make sure that their grades, to make sure they're going to class. So it's just like you're a college coach and you're chasing the kids just like the college coaches do. It's just a little bit different because you don't actually work for the school. Both teams with 3 team fouls now, and it's Xavier McCoy at the line, an 83% free throw shooter who misses that one. Missed them both, as a matter of fact, So it's a pretty cold start by Brunswick standards. We've seen them come out of the gates tearing it up the last 2 games. Another good defensive play there for Brunswick as Daly gets the steal, goes full court, and he'll go to the free throw line. Khalil Daly, just 46% at the line. Daly, 9.5 points per game. Swishes in the first one. So that's 4 fouls now on S4G, and Cape Fear has 3. In and out on the second tip for the rebound. And are they going to call it? They're going to call it over the back on Wilson. So both teams now with 4 team fouls with 12:19 left to go here until halftime. Chris Shima, glad to be with you. We will have games today and tomorrow. Tomorrow is Chattanooga State driving to the bucket, counting in the foul for Shabazz, who will go to the line. Kabir Shabazz from Richmond, Virginia. Coming out is Wilson. Checking in for the first time for Brunswick is Tevin Heath. Heath, who was a redshirt at Anderson last year, gets the rebound off the missed free throw. So 15-9. The deficit is 6 for the Dolphins. Corner 3, McCoy. And it's just not going down quite as easy here tonight for Brunswick. Ball deflected out of bounds, and it's last touched by BCC. Wilder is going to come out, and it looks like DeJuan Harvey will come into the game. 7'2". He's got that Manute Bowl kind of frame, even though Manute Bowl was 5 inches longer. That's floated up short. Harvey trying to get the rebound. His story is very interesting, and we'll tell you about it here as the game goes on. The hook shot by Shabazz is missed. Melvin into the forecourt. Melvin directing traffic now. McCoy, the bounce pass taken away. Good zone by S4G. High pass from Tab to Shabazz. No trouble though, as Shabazz able to fingertip it in. And the lead is 8, 17-9 for Shooting for Greatness. Melvin top of the key. Melvin leaves it for Heath. And that 3 is way off. Woodard turnaround shot over Harvey and draws the foul. DeJuan Harvey is from Washington, D.C. You can Google it and find there's a news story about that young man who commits his first foul here. Played at Chipola, which is a junior college, in 2013 and 14. Averaged about 4 points. Good shooter at 47%. Lost his brother. He was stabbed. And life kind of started to go downhill for Harvey. Made his own personal mistakes, and so he's not a young man, but he's still young enough to be able to play college ball, and he's trying to. He said his goal, at least in the news story that I read, is to just go pro at this point and maybe try to get an overseas contract, which a lot of players can do, by the way. It's not just the Ball family that can do it. I know a lot of guys who play 20-plus years overseas. In fact, Chattanooga State, who we're going to see tomorrow, with the shot clock winding down, that was hoisted up, and Lomax couldn't get it to go, but put back by Tate, who's come into the game. 19-11 is the correct score on your screen. Daly for 3. The first three-pointer to go down for Brunswick. If they could start hitting their shots, they will be okay. Brunswick's not playing bad. There are a few too many turnovers again, but for the most part, they're playing a clean game. It's just not hitting shots. We're at the midway point now. 16 fouls on Brunswick now, 5 on S4G. So DeJuan Harvey, one of those players that you can't help but root for. Fighting an uphill battle, though. But just to finish that thought, Chattanooga State's coach played multiple years in multiple places overseas. And what a cool thing to be able to use your basketball talents for if you can work it into a contract. Good job by Wilder, who missed the first shot, followed it, and the lead back to 7. In transition, it's Johnson, Sadiq Johnson, out on the court, missing his jumper. What a pass by Wilder. Swung over to Coleman Graham, who got it to the cutter. And going to the line will be Harvey. Set the 5 on the floor for you. So it's Tevin Heath, Josh Woodard, as well as Mike Melvin. They're on the court with Sadiq Johnson and also Khalil Daly. So that's the 5 right now for the Dolphins. 9:36 left to go. The Dolphins over the limit, by the way, now. That's their 7th team foul, as Harvey misses the first. Scott coming back in. He's going to replace McCoy, I believe. Harvey trying to get 1 out of 2. Gets the friendly bounce. The lead is 8 now, 22-14. Melvin over to Scott. Heath. Melvin driving in. Correction, that was Scott driving in, and Woodard with the turnover as he fell down. And then Heath gets it back. Count it and the foul. So Tevin Heath will try to complete an old school 3-point play. More bodies coming in and out for S4G. It looks like Wilder goes out, and coming back in is Shabazz. Hiroshima, glad to be with you once again. We want to give a shout out to our friends at Atlantic Foot Specialists for sponsoring today's broadcast. Thanks, Dr. Satterwhite, for your patronage. And go, if you have any foot issues, sprains, whatever might come your way, go give them your full support. 3-point play complete. It's a 5-point game, 22-17. Approaching 9 minutes to go here in the opening half. Coleman Graham turns on the Jets, puts it off the glass. Too strong. Ball tipped out to Tab. Kashawn Tab from Richmond, Virginia. That 3 ball is missed, and then underneath we have a push. So the ball goes back to Brunswick after the Dolphins fall behind 8. It's actually the 7th team foul, so on a rebound, that will mean a 1-and-1. Josh Woodard is 78% free throw shooter. Raise the rim, that's all. Pushing S4G. Shabazz, Tab with the fake, swings it out. Tate. It's up at the key, Shabazz. Right side Tab, floater from the baseline is too strong, but it comes right to Tate. Now it's ripped away by Melvin. Good defense by him. Brunswick's got numbers. The alley-oop, throw it down. Jael Scott with the hops. So S4G's lead down to 3 now. Coleman Graham. Shabazz. 4 to shoot now. It's off the foot of Harvey. A steal by Scott. He almost threw it away. Melvin to Scott. Not that time. The pass was spot on. Driving in. It's an offensive foul. Negate the bucket. Timeout on the court, so we will step aside. 7:49 left to go in the opening half. Brunswick trying to make a run. We'll be back. Chris Sheeman, glad to be back with you. There you see our next broadcast tomorrow at 5 p.m. That's our last broadcast of the semester. By the way, we will resume coverage in January during the break. We will have a Brunswick game, I believe, on the 5th or 6th. Out of the timeout, Johnson misses the 3. Makes amends, though, as he steals it right back. Sadiq to the bucket. It's rejected. Heath stays with it. Can't clean it up. Heath, not that time either. Couple of blocks by Peterson. Peterson able to grab it, and he's fouled. So Peterson has come back into the game. Alex Peterson is going to go to the line. Both teams have 18 fouls. So we'll have a 1-and-1 here. That one off the back of the rim. Rebound controlled by Heath. Heath underneath Woodard with the fake. Nice fake by Josh. Defense came to help, though. It was Shabazz altering that shot. Here's Lovelace into the game for the first time. Coleman Graham, now Shabazz. Top of the key, Lomax steps to the half circle, fires the jumper. No tip for the rebound. Melvin able to get it himself. Melvin underneath for Heath, who kind of awkwardly threw it up. Stayed with it, though, and got the putback. So it was an 8-point deficit. It's now down to 1 for Brunswick. A low-scoring first half. Brunswick came in 19th in Division I at 96.6 points per ball game. They've got just 21 here. Loveless. Coleman Graham swishes in the 3. Shooting for greatness needed that. They've been cold for a while. Scott. There's Johnson. Woodard. Heath. Nobody on him. Throws it up. No. Tipped back up and in by Scott. Into the forecourt, Coleman Graham. Shooting for greatness in this tournament. Will take on Caldwell Tech, tomorrow at 3, and Cape Fear on Saturday at 4 p.m. Brunswick in their own holiday classic, 5-7 since 2013-14. They went 2-1 last year. To the bucket, scooping it up, no, but the follow by Heath off the miss from Scott. And we are tied at 25. It's the first tie of the game since the opening minutes. Underneath, all alone, was Peterson. Good find from Coleman Graham. S4G got it right back. The lead, I mean. Heath over to Scott. Melvin. Woodard. Woodard right at the lane, and he traveled with the basketball. 3 subs in for Brunswick. Elijah Gore, number 3, in for the first time. Najee Thomas also coming back into the game. Myquan Gooding, number 14, also out there for the first time tonight. Inside 5 minutes to go here in this opening half. Lomax in the forecourt for shooting for greatness. Harvey came back into the game as well. Lomax right to the bucket. Boy, this kid's a player from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I believe he's in double figures now with 10. And S4G leads by 4. Scott to inbound it now for Brunswick. Gore top of the key. Scott for 3. Very short. Coleman Graham in transition. Good job by the Dolphins sprinting back. Coleman Graham over to Peterson in the corner. Harvey blocked but fouled. Thomas got a clean block on the second effort, but I think he came across on the first. So that's what they called there. And it will be Harvey back at the line. DeJuan Harvey missing, or going 1 for 2 the first time. It's 9 team fouls on Brunswick, 8 on shooting for greatness. And the officials talking about whether or not it was a shooting foul or not. They do say 2 shots for Harvey. Missed the first off the back of the rim. Devin Hutchinson back out there. Sadiq Johnson will sit down. Harvey missed them both, and now a late whistle, and they call a lane violation on Brunswick. So a third free throw to come here for Harvey. And he makes Brunswick pay, connecting on 1 out of 3. Hutchinson quickly into the forecourt. Here's Gooding to the bucket, and oh boy, Harvey can't believe it. That was a late whistle. I'm on his side. That's a bad call. So Gooding, 70% free throw shooter at the line, missing that one. Gooding played at Navarro in Texas, another junior college, in 2015-2016. He's from Goldsboro, so returning home here to play for Walter Shaw and the Dolphins. Gooding now trying to salvage the trip and go 1 out of 2, which he does. 30-26. Brunswick trailing by 4 here in their opening game in their Holiday Classic. That ball deflected out of bounds off of Scott. .406 left to go here in this opening half. And that pass is intercepted by Scott. Good defense. Scott out to Gore for 3. Yes. 1 point game again, 30-29, inside 4 to play here in the opening half. Coleman Graham guarded closely by Scott. Scott not given an inch. Coleman Graham will pull it out now. Looking to drive on Scott, and Scott is called for a foul. With 6 on the shot clock, that's 10 team fouls, so double bonus here for Brunswick. Kenny Coleman Graham from the Buckeye State, Toledo, Ohio, the Glass City. First free throw in and out. Torrance Stevens from Baltimore, Maryland, coming into the game for Shooting for Greatness. He'll be number 25 on your screen, replacing Tate. 1 out of 2. The lead is 2, 31-29, and that's going to go off Gore, out of bounds. So the ball goes back to Shooting for Greatness. And the prep school making some noise here in the first half. They've led throughout. Brunswick had a brief 1-point lead early. That 3 ball off the mark. Lomax screaming for a foul. And that pass is too far ahead of Hutchinson, who was looking to get out in transition. Back-to-back turnovers for Brunswick. Lomax skies it to Shabazz for 3, yes. Good 3-point shooting for Greatness in this first half. I believe that's their 5th 3-pointer. 2:47 left to go in the opening 20. Gore, pass deflected, and man, they are playing well out of that zone. Picking and poking. Lomax to the bucket, yes. And the lead grows back to 7, the biggest of the game. For Shooting for Greatness was 8. Gore out near midcourt. Here's Scott between the circles. Gooding to the buckets, yes. Brunswick needed that one as Shooting for Greatness was starting to pull away again, nearing 2 minutes left to go. 5-point game. Peterson steps right, can't get the jumper. Scott with another good box out and board. The ball deflected out, and it's last touched by Brunswick. A.J. Baldwin coming back into the game. He'll replace Elijah Gore. Baldwin over to Gooding. Gooding is bumped by Shabazz. That's 10 team fouls on Shooting for Greatness, so both teams are in the double bonus over the final 1:49 of the half. Oh, they called it offensive? Oh, they said he walked. My apologies. I looked down at my notes and grabbed my water, and it's all my fault. So Shooting for Greatness gets it back on another turnover for Brunswick. Coleman Graham traveled as well. So both teams turning it over. Brunswick will get it back, trailing by 5. Brunswick, as I mentioned, went 2-1 last year's Holiday Classic. They beat Wallace, Delaware Tech. They lost against Bryan and Stratton, who's back here in the Classic. Baldwin shows it. Nice pass by Baldwin, and Thomas is stripped but fouled. So Najee will go to the line to shoot a couple, I think. Way off with that shot. Coming back in is Keyshawn Tate for Shooting for Greatness. Sadiq Johnson returns for Brunswick. Thomas gets 1 out of 2, and the lead for S4G is down to 4 now. Lomax has had the hot hand. Coleman Graham on the right. Looking high for Lomax. Lomax to the bucket, throws it up short. Rebound by Gooding, had it poked away. Lomax stayed with it to the bucket, no. But he's fouled as we go inside. 1 minute to go here in this first half, 49 seconds to be exact. More free throws to come here. Tyree Lomax, I mentioned, from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. First free throw, no problem. Lead back to 5. Chris Shima, glad to be with you. If you're just joining us, Shooting for Greatness has led for most of the game. Brunswick briefly led in the early going. We were tied at 25, a little past the midway point. Right now, Brunswick down by 5. Catch and shoot from Johnson for 3, no. Lomax the board. About 9-second difference between game and shot clock. Lomax to the bucket, and he goes 2 for 1. Brunswick would have to go pretty quickly, is about a second and a half difference, but technically it's a 2 for 1. Baldwin hounded to Hutchinson. Kyle Solomon, the coach for SRG, screaming, get up. Baldwin the alley-oop, throwing it down with the two-hand jam, Najee Thomas. Couple of highlight plays here in the first half for Brunswick. 3 seconds left to work with now. Lomax will have to hoist from mid-court, and that will go out of bounds. So Shooting for Greatness leads, for the most part, wire to wire, taking a 5-point lead into the locker room. We'll step aside for our 15-minute halftime. Come back and bring you the second half here in just a little bit. Welcome back to Brunswick, everybody. Chris Shima, glad to be back with you. Brunswick in the blue. Shooting for Greatness is in the white. And a low-scoring first half by Brunswick standards as we're underway here in this second half. I heard the halftime stats, and 15 missed layups for the Dolphins in that first half, and 3 of 14, was it, from three-point range? Devin Hutchinson connecting on the first here in the second half, though, and that's really what it came down to. Brunswick did have a high amount of turnovers, but it wasn't anything crazy plus or minus between these two teams. It's really just been Brunswick has not hit shots, and credit the defense for shooting for greatness. They've got some size underneath, and they've used it. That's one of the reasons why a lot of those layups have been missed. Brunswick turning up the defensive pressure now. The shot clock is at 5. Lomax with 15 points. Gets it out. Person for 3. Can't get it to go. So good start on the first couple of possessions here in the second half for Brunswick. Dolphins trying to capitalize. Wilson from Baldwin. And Wilson banks it in. We are tied for just the second time today. It was tied at 25 in the first half as well. Person swings it out. Coleman Graham. Lomax has had the hot hand, and he stays hot. He's up to 18 points. Shooting for greatness by 3 again. Thomas swings it out. Wilson, extra passing, finding the open shooter. Hutchinson can't get it to go. Put back by Thomas. Gets the friendly roll. 42-41. It's a 1-point game. This is the Brunswick Holiday Classic. Chris Shima, glad to be with you for the first 2 days. Brunswick doing a great job hosting this for the last several years. Brunswick themselves have won 5 and lost 7 in the last 4 Brunswick classics. They were 1 and 2 in the first 3, and then went 2 and 1 last year. Tomorrow, Brunswick takes on Chattanooga State at 5. We'll live stream that for you. Saturday, Bryan and Stratton at 2 p.m. We won't have that broadcast for you. And that will be the last game of the semester for Brunswick. We won't see them in action again until 2018 in January. All of the finals, I believe, are done, so it's all about basketball right now. How about that? Baldwin, what a steal, finding the cutter, and Hutchinson firing his team up. It's just the second time Brunswick has led in this game. Shabazz for 3. Off the back of the rim, tipped back no by Peterson. And Thomas with the board for the Dolphins. Hutchinson doubled up. And they're going to get a foul called on shooting for greatness. Shooting for greatness, a prep school from Raleigh, North Carolina. The head coach, Kyle Solomon. I looked up Lomax stats, and, I found him on Max Preps, which can sometimes be misleading, but said in his last year playing high school basketball down in Baton Rouge, he averaged 1.9 points per ball game. Lomax is stroking it here today. He's got 18 for S4G. Baldwin thought about it. Back to Hutchinson now, 8 to shoot for Brunswick. Scott between the circles, 4 on the shot clock. Brunswick's not aware of it. Baldwin is. He hoists. Got it off the back of the rim, but still good defense for him. Shooting for greatness. Lomax. His pass deflected by Hutchinson out of bounds. So tomorrow, Brunswick plays Chattanooga State. Lomax stepping into a 3. Got another one. He's up to 21 points. Shooting for greatness. Calls for time. So we will step aside. S4G on top. Brunswick trying to recover. We'll be back. Big shout out to our friends. Today's broadcast brought to you by Atlantic Foot Specialist and Dr. Satterwhite. Back to live action now. 17:09 left to go in the ball game. Brunswick down 43-45 is the score here. And now it's 45-45 as the Dolphins get an easy 2 out of the timeout. So correct score now on your screen, 45-all. Person for 3, yes. Shooting for greatness is shooting for greatness. They're doing what their name says. They are bombing threes. Wilson on the baseline, cut off. He'll back it out. Now Thomas. Scott in the corner, takes it to the wing, back to Thomas. Thomas, open look for Wilson. Yes, it's a three-pointer. And we are even again. Omari Wilson came in just 3 of 16 from downtown on the season. 4 minutes into the second half. It's been a fun one. Tight game. Coleman Graham, 7 to shoot. Shabazz had it poked away. Good defense by Thomas. Scooped ahead to Scott. Throws it down with the right-hand jam. And it's the second lead of the half for Brunswick, 50-48. Coleman Graham into the forecourt. Peterson out on the wing. Coleman Graham in the corners, guarded by Scott, man-to-man. Scott fights through the screen. Here's Lomax. They double him. Person for 3, no. Offensive rebound by Peterson. Lomax overran the pass. Hutchinson the steal and the bucket. The biggest lead of the night for Brunswick is 4, 52-48. 5 minutes into this second half. Turning on the Jets is Coleman Graham, and he is fouled. That's just the first of the half for Brunswick. Both teams have 1. Kenny Coleman Graham, mentioned from Toledo, Ohio. I went to college at Bowling Green, so I know Toledo very well. The Glass City has a lot of good basketball. They've, at various points, tried to make semi-pro basketball work there. It just hasn't taken off the way hockey and baseball has, but some good basketball there about 45 minutes south of Detroit. 52-49, Baldwin into the front court. Far side, it's Wilson. Back to AJ. Throws it up. Draws the contact. Smart play by Baldwin there. AJ Baldwin, 70% free throw shooter. Freshman from up the road in Fayetteville. Rims in the first one. Brunswick has had 20-plus assists in their last 5 games and 8 of their first 10. Last year they finished 8th in Division I in assists per game. They're averaging 20.9 per game. A.J. Baldwin, a big reason why, he's averaging 5.3. This is an unselfish team, Brunswick. Unselfish team shooting for greatness as well as they find the open man. Coleman Graham with another triple for shooting for greatness. Coming right back, Thomas tried to throw it down twice, and they say it's last touch by Brunswick out of bounds. So the ball goes back to S for G. Lone loss for Brunswick coming in to Lewisburg, 85-69 on November 11th. The Hurricanes are 8-3 at the last check. I looked at that, I think, yesterday. Stepping into it, the heat check. Not that time for Lomax. Rebound controlled by Wilson. Correction, Baldwin looking to push and got out of control. Luckily for him, Thomas was there, so BCC can salvage the possession. Hutchinson will settle everybody down now. Here's Baldwin. 6 on the shot clock, which did not reset. I don't think Brunswick is aware. Hutchinson looks at it, grazes the rim, and Daly is there. Oh, boy. A break again for Brunswick. They got to get points on this possession. They've been gifted this one 2 times now. Daly at the half circle will back it out. Step into a 3 now. And can't get the friendly roll. Person the rebound. Coleman Graham backs it out near midcourt. Drives in. The bounce pass to Shabazz. Shabazz over to Peterson. Person with 10 to shoot to the bucket. Can't get it to go. Tip for the rebound. Wilson has another. Dolphins will go slow as Walter Shaw calls out a play from the sideline. 2 subs, 1 for each team, set to check at the next dead ball. Daly can't get the 3 to go, and it's been a cold shooting night for Brunswick. They came into the half just 3 of 14 from downtown. Shabazz for 3, no. Wilson the board, saved it to Baldwin. Daly over to Hutchinson, catch and shoot 3, no. Thomas another offensive rebound, and Brunswick doing a better job pounding the glass, the offensive glass in particular here in this second half. Inside 12 to go. And that's going to be a reach as Peterson came off on Thomas. Brunswick, Daquan Wakame in for the first time, wearing number 34. Tariq Wilder, number 2. DeJuan Harvey, number 1 for shooting for greatness. 2-hand jam, Omari Wilson. Brunswick matches his biggest lead of the night at 56 to 52. Wilder to the bucket, right around Wilson. Again, Brunswick slowly into the forecourt. Wilson bounce passes off the mark, and they say it's last touched by the Dolphins. Shooting for greatness will play Caldwell tomorrow at 3 p.m. Take on Cape Fear on Saturday at 4 here in this Holiday Classic. Mentioned Brunswick takes on Chattanooga State tomorrow at 5. Bryan and Stratton Saturday at 2. That's going to be a foul called on the floor. Person driving in. 3 team fouls on shooting for greatness, 2 now on Brunswick with 11:03 left to go in the game. Person goes out, coming in, Kashawn Tabb. Tabb fires a 3 right off the bench, can't get it. Hutchinson tips it to Baldwin for the rebound. Back to Devin, scoops it up, no. Tip for the rebound, and it's saved by Harvey, but they say he stepped out of bounds. So it'll stay with Brunswick. AJ to inbound it. Hutchinson. Looking to drive here. Hutchinson turns on the Jets and gets the whistle. Wilder can't believe it, but the foul is on him. That's team foul number 4 on shooting for greatness. First free throw by Hutchinson is good. 67% free throw shooter. Devin makes 2 out of every 3 that he takes. Missed that one, so the lead is 3 right now for Brunswick. And now a foul called on Brunswick, so both teams playing pretty clean for the first half of this second half. Ball was just deflected, no foul call, they say, so shooting for greatness with the inbound. 14 to shoot now. Stepping to the left is Lomax for 3, no, and Tate's with the offensive rebound, but they say he came over the back. Team foul number 5 on shooting for greatness. Chris Sheba, glad to be with you. Thanks for watching, wherever you're checking today's game out for. Don't forget, we have a doubleheader in quotations. I'll be doing the Sea Devils Cape Fear game against Chattanooga State about 20 minutes or so after this game is over. So that's Brunswick's opponent tomorrow. Harvey throwing it down. DeJuan Harvey at 7'2", and his size on full display there with the block and then the jam in transition. And stepping out of bounds there and turning it over was Lomax. So the ball goes back to Brunswick. Brunswick maintaining a 1-point lead. Their biggest lead has been 4. Shooting for greatness led by as many as 8 in the first half. Past the midway point here in this second half. Brunswick trying to stay perfect at home. They're 6-0. 10 to shoot now. Hutchinson to Wilson. Underneath, turnaround shot, Lockamy, and the foul called on Harvey. That's team foul number 6 on shooting for greatness. Taquan Lockamy, 2 out of every 3 at the line for him as well, 67%. Bangs in the first one. Brunswick by 2. And the second is good as well, 59-56. Nearing 9 minutes left to go in the ball game. Tab top of the key is pass intercepted by Baldwin. Baldwin coast to coast, throwing it down. A.J. Baldwin just 6'1", using every bit of it there as he throws it down with the right-hand jam. 5-point game. Wilder takes it to the corner. He'll fire to 3, can't get it. Rebound controlled by Baldwin. That's not the shot you want if you're Kyle Solomon's team. Gore for Wilson, for 3, no. Rebound controlled by Tab. Here's Lomax. Wilder, step back to Lomax. He's been hot, stays hot. 24 in the game now of the 59 for shooting for greatness from Tyree Lomax. 8:15 left to go. Brunswick's lead cut to 2 again. Daly thought about it. Hutchinson, corner 3. His shot is short. Tried to follow it, but Tate is there with the rebound. Here's Tab. Tab, the reverse, too strong. Hutchinson, the board. Baldwin into the forecourt. A rocket to Hutchinson. Nobody on him. And Devin makes him pay for that. So Hutchinson makes it a 4-point game, nearing 7.5 left to go. Lomax to the right side. Lomax looking for a screen, instead to the bucket. He's stripped but fouled by Baldwin, and that will be team foul number 4 on Brunswick. 6 on Shooting for Greatness, 4 on Brunswick with 7:20 left to go in the game. And they're going to say Lomax was in the act, so he goes to the line. 24 points for Tyree Lomax as he swishes in the first one, make it 25. Mike Melvin coming back in for Brunswick. He'll replace Baldwin. Also back out there, Kabir Shabazz for S4G. 2 out of 2 at the line, and Lomax will come out of the game now. Kenny Coleman Graham returning. Melvin into the forecourt. Nearing 7 minutes to play. Here's Hutchinson between the circles. Hits it back. Throws it to Lockamy right of the lane. Skies it to Daly. Daly to the bucket. Right around the defense. Khalil Daly increasing the lead to 4 again. 65-61. Shabazz. Here's Coleman Graham guarded by Wilson. Wilder to the bucket. Floats it up and got every bit of the rim, but none of the bucket. Hutchinson the rebound. Hutchinson splits 2 defenders. Bounce pass to Wilson, and Wilson had it poked away. Here's Coleman Graham now. Numbers for S4G. Coleman Graham lost the handle on it, though, and Lockamy takes it away. 3-on-1 for Brunswick. Laying it up and in is Daly, and Brunswick with its biggest lead of the night now. It's 6. 6:14 left to go. Daly top of the key. Daly to the right. Correction, that's Coleman Graham. Now over to Wilder. Tate threw it away. Good defense by Daly for Brunswick. And he's fouled by Coleman Graham. That will be 7 team fouls. So Khalil Daly, just 46% free throw shooter, goes to the line. He hit 1 out of 2 in the first half. Hutchinson will come out. Tevin Heath in for Brunswick. Alex Peterson back out there for Shooting for Greatness. Daly front end is no good. Rebound control by Shabazz. So Shabazz and Peterson are up front for Shooting for Greatness. Lomax has come back in. Also Person and Wilder. That's the 5 for them. Melvin to Wilson, and that should be goaltending. That should be goaltending. That basket should count. And they will count it. So 69-61. Wilson will go to the line, try to complete the old school 3-point play. Wilson out on the court with Daly and Lockamy, also Heath and Melvin. That's the 5 for Brunswick. Omari Wilson, 63% free throw shooter, completes the old school 3-point play. What a turnaround this has been here in this second half. Brunswick trailed for most of the first half. Starting to pull away now. Shabazz double teamed, scoops it to Wilder, puts it up no, and now it's Shooting for Greatness who have gone cold. Daly thought about the 3. He'll wait for his teammates. Melvin is open. Melvin, 33% 3-point shooter, decides against it. Here's Heath. Turnaround baseline shot. Rebound controlled by Person off the back of the rim. In transition, it's Lomax. Shabazz had it stripped. Good defense in this second half for Brunswick. Daly, not that time. Person the rebound. And there's an injured player down for Shooting for Greatness on the other end of the floor. So with 4:42 left to go in the game, we will take a timeout. The injured player for Shooting for Greatness, Kabir Shabazz, appears to be okay. He does come out of the game, as coming in for him is Torrin Stevens. Chris Sheeman, glad to be back with you here at Brunswick. 4:42 left to go. The Dolphins trying to remain perfect at home, go to 7-0 and 10-1 overall on the season, leading by 9. Pressure being shown by Brunswick. Stevens travels with the basketball, so the Dolphins will get it back. And the pressure works. Melvin inbound it. Extra possession now for Brunswick. Here's Wilson. 4:37 left to go in the game. Wilson lost the dribble. It's deflected. Melvin tried to save it. Ahead to Lomax, though, and he got it from Stevens for 2. Shooting for Greatness is far from out of this. Melvin out of control. It looked like a reach on Lomax. No call, though. Brunswick able to beat the pressure. So Melvin directing traffic. Looks like he wants to go one-on-one here. 8 to shoot. Here's Heath. Heath, couple of buckets in the first half. Uses the baseline. Good defense by Stevens, though, who comes up with the rebound off the miss. Driving in is Wilder, and he's fouled. That will be 5 on Brunswick now with 3:46 to play in the game. Devin Hutchinson coming back in, the Radford commit. And coming out is Tevin Heath. Person. Here's Lomax. Lomax with 25 or 26 points today for Shooting for Greatness. Person catch and shoot 3. Nope. Stevens got the offensive rebound right back to Person. He'll try it again, and this time it rims in for him. 4-point game, 70 to 66. Melvin into the forecourt. 3:16 left to go. Brunswick's got to keep their foot on the gas here. A 2-possession game. Melvin. Oh, nice cut, nice find. Hutchinson will go to the line. That was a beautiful cut by Devin, and a good find by Mike Melvin, the freshman from Fayetteville. Hutchinson, 67% free throw shooter, money on the first one. A.J. Baldwin's going to come back into the game. Mike Melvin will go out. Second free throw also good, so the lead back to 6. It's been as much as 9 tonight for Brunswick in the early going in the first half. Shooting for Greatness led by as many as 8. Lomax inside 3 minutes to go. Wilder on the near side. Looking back for Lomax. Baldwin stays with him. Lomax can't get that 3 to go. Offensive rebound by Wilder, but hang on. I think they're saying the shot clock was reset, and the official said that was an air ball. So they decide to keep the shot clock as is. It's at 28. So Person will inbound. No, it's down to 8. So 8 seconds to shoot for Shooting for Greatness. And Wilder dribbles it out of bounds, so it's a moot point anyways. Pressure being shown. Baldwin. A steady hand for the Dolphins. A.J. into the forecourt. A.J. goes around the defense, out of control, but draws the foul. That's 10 on Shooting for Greatness, so Brunswick will be in the double bonus. Brunswick's played a clean first half, just 5 team fouls for Brunswick here in this second half. AJ, 70% free throw shooter. Good on the first. So now it's a 3-possession game. DeJuan Harvey at 7'2" coming back into the game. Two out of two at the line. Brunswick hitting their free throws, helping them out to an 8-point lead. It's second biggest of the game. Approaching 2 minutes left to go. Lomax trying to find a shot. Instead, Wilder will take it off the back of the rim. Offensive rebound, Harvey, and he's fouled, so DeJuan Harvey will go to the line. 6 on Brunswick, so now shooting for greatness will be in the bonus over the final 2:07 on the next defensive set foul. First free throw, no trouble for DeJuan Harvey there. Shabazz coming in, number 5 for Wilder. Harvey again, can't get that one to go, so 1 out of 2, and the lead remains 7. Inside 2 minutes to play, Brunswick trying to go to 10-1 on the year, win their first game in the Brunswick Holiday Classic, and stay perfect at home. Go to 7-0. Daly. 10 to shoot now. Hutchinson with it. Hutchinson takes it to the right, goes to the bucket, can't get it to go, and a late whistle. Blocking foul is called. Lomax can't believe it. What do I have to do to take a charge? What game was I watching last night? I think it was Indiana and Oklahoma City, and there was a charge late, and it was obviously a charge, and they called it a charge, and then ESPN took a break, and they came back, and they changed it to a blocking foul. Nobody knows in basketball at any level what a charge and what a block is. Nobody. I'm telling you. Hutchinson gets the first one to go. Been broadcasting games for 16 years now. I've seen guys standing there, hands up, draw the foul. Nope, it's a block. I've seen guys just wildly step to the right and get a charge called on. 76-67, 1:37 left to go here in the game. Hutchinson hitting 2 more free throws. Turnaround shot. Shabazz, no, and it's deflected out by Lockamy. Tell you what, if you're Brunswick, you're feeling pretty good if you win this game. Not playing your best. They were ice cold in the first half. They missed 15 layups and were 3 of 14 from downtown. Lockamy committing a silly foul. You do not, I repeat, every basketball player that's watching this, you do not need to foul with less than 90 seconds to go when you're up by 9, ever. So at the line, Coleman Graham connecting on the first. Kenny Coleman Graham gets them both. 7-point game. It's still 3 possessions. Pressure shown here for shooting for greatness. We'll see if they start to foul, and it looks like they will. So more free throws to come. A.J. Baldwin will go back to the line. So if Brunswick hits their free throws, that's it. 10 team fouls, by the way, on shooting for greatness. So 2 free throws for Baldwin no matter what here. Swishes through the first one, and Brunswick sealing it with their free throw shooting here tonight. Sometimes you got to win the ugly games too, and that's what Brunswick is 115 away from doing here today. Lomax to the bucket, swings it out. Coleman, Graham for three, an air ball. Lockamy, another foul. Hutchinson getting Lockamy together over there. So Person to the line now. Person from Richmond, Virginia. Again, for Shooting for Greatness, they take on Caldwell Tech tomorrow at 3 p.m. On Saturday, they will battle Cape Fear at 4. Brunswick takes on Chattanooga State tomorrow at 5. We'll have that one for you. Saturday, it's Bryan and Stratton at 2. That's the end of the semester for the Dolphins. They're done until 2018. Timeout by Shooting for Greatness. We go away. 1:06 left to go in the game. Brunswick leading by 8. Well, while we have one more chance, shout out to Dr. Satterwhite and everybody at Atlantic Foot Specialists, broadcast sponsor for tonight's game. 910-755 feet. You can't forget that one. 910-755 feet. 1:06 left to go. Chris Shima, glad to be back with you. It's Brunswick leading by 8. Trap for Shooting for Greatness. Brunswick able to break it, and they go to the bucket. Wilson can't get it to go, and then the ball deflected out. So we expect to see some more fouls to come here for Shooting for Greatness. Baldwin will inbound it to Hutchinson. Oh, they're not fouling. That's interesting. Down by 8, inside a minute to go. They're letting them play it out. So Hutchinson will run it all the way down, go to the bucket, miss it, but it's thrown back up and in by Wilson. So Brunswick with its biggest lead of the night, and they will go to 10-1 on the year and 7-0 here at home. That ball thrown away, but it deflected by Brunswick. 28.7 left. So again, if you're interested in scouting the opponent tomorrow, which is Chattanooga State, going to head over to the Sea Devils Cape Fear Community College YouTube. We'll broadcast that game. The Sea Devils taking on Chattanooga State about 20 minutes or so from now, maybe 25. $18.7 left to work with here in this one. 11 on the shot clock. Shabazz with the inbound, and throwing it up and in is Harvey, who barely has to jump to touch the rim. 7'2". He's got those long, like I said, he's built like Manute Bol. He's got those long wingspan, those long skinny legs. Lockamy on the reverse. Rebound controlled by Harvey. Throws it ahead. It's deflected, and that'll do it. Brunswick wins its opening game in the Brunswick Holiday Classic, 80-72 over Shooting for Greatness. Brunswick goes to 10-1 and 7-0 here at home, winning tonight by 8 points. So, folks, that'll do it for us. Again, tomorrow, Brunswick taking on Chattanooga State, and that will be at 5 p.m., so be sure to tune in for that one. And again, if you want to do a little scouting on Chattanooga State, just check out Sea Devil TV on YouTube. We'll have Cape Fear and Chattanooga State on the Sea Devils YouTube coming up here in just about 20 minutes or so. So once again, your final is Brunswick 80, Shooting for Greatness 72. Shout out once again to our friends Atlantic Foot Specialists. Thank them for supporting Brunswick Athletics. And we'll talk to you again tomorrow at 5 p.m. Take care.